Welcome to the much overdue random show number 437. I'm Tim Rose.
We're not married. We do live in San Francisco, so that kind of thing is legal.
And I haven't even had this yet. I'm Tim Ferriss.
And I'm Kevin Rose. We are in 2014.
Amazing.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It is a new year, and
Yeah,
there is
cheers.
cheers to that. And cheers to Graham, who doesn't have a drink. A drink.
Oh, there it is.
Sweet.
Cheers,
a
buddy.
little clinky clink. There we go.
So I think this is going to be a big year.
I do too, and I've got big plans.
What are your big plans?
I've got a bunch. So let's start. We have on the Random Show, if you're just tuning in for the first time, it's called the Random Show because we talk about all kinds of random things. So, you know, I always think of the new year as a way to reset.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, you know, a lot of people do New Year's resolutions. I didn't do those this year, but I did one thing, one little idea that I think is awesome.
Oh no.
It's dropping acid. No, I've got one thing that I think is really awesome that I want to tell everyone out there, and I want to get you to do it as well. Mm-hmm. So, the idea is that, you know, man, I'm getting old, and I realized that the last couple of years. I got a lot of gray hairs coming in. I got one gray hair on my bits, which was
Nice.
really
Salt,
disturbing.
Little salt and pepper, like Joey from Friends.
Not
kinda
full salt and pepper, but I got one down there, and it was really
lucky dragon hair.
no.
That's what they call that.
Have you ever had one down in the
No.
nethers? It's not cool.
But then again, my trend is to not go gray. My hair just falls out.
Yeah, your hair just falls off, so you're bald. Okay, so anyway, long story short, little things like that happen to you, and you just realize, I'm just getting a little bit older. So I'm turning 37 this year. Which is crazy. But one of the things I realized is that, you know, as we're starting to age and accelerate into like our late 30s, early 40s, like this is like an awesome time in life where we should be trying to really, you know, make use of the fact that we still have a pretty youthful body and do some kind of wild and crazy fun things. So the idea that I have is that this year, I'm gonna open like a little Google Doc or whatever you prefer, Apple Doc, whatever the hell. And once per month, I'm gonna do something that I can look back on in life and say, that was an amazing life experience. And so every single month, I'm gonna pick one thing that I think is just really epic. And I'm not talking about, sometimes it can be something that costs money, like it's a certain like thing, but I'll take mine this month, didn't cost me any money, it was amazing. But I want to do one per month that is just epic, and I have some ideas to get things going. So this month, I got really lucky, and I got invited to check out the Bay Bridge here in San Francisco has this lights program on one side of the bridge where a bunch of entrepreneurial guys, this guy named Ben, created this project to put lights on the bridge, and it was all crowdsourced and crowdfunded. To do this, and in fact, they're still raising money for it. You should check out the Lights Project if you live in San Francisco. But I was invited to go up there and actually walk up the side of the cable and like take a tour of the project. Yeah. And this is like something like, you know, it's not something they offer to the public. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna try this. I don't know, you've been invited too, but you haven't done it yet.
I haven't been able to, yeah.
It was literally one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Like, I'm walking up the freaking cables. I have some photos that we'll roll in here and some video. But it was super scary. But at the end, like I came home and my buddy Tony Conrad actually did this as well. Came home and I had to like fall asleep because I had so much adrenaline.
Your nervous system was so taxed.
I just shut down and I just like took a nap for like an hour and a half afterwards. Not that I'm old and I have to take naps in the afternoon, but like it was just a really amazing experience. So that was my January thing that I'm going to lock in. But some other things I want to do. I bought this in December, which is the first component. This is from Mag Tactical.
Magpul, yeah?
No, Mag Tactical.
Just Mag Tactical?
Yeah, Magpul's all the add-ons for it. So this is the very bare bones, raw, like trigger cage system for an AR15. And here's a picture of like an actual AR-15, and they may look hardcore and tactical and scary, but there's this thing that I got to do with you, which we won't talk about because it's going to be in your TV show. But
we can mention. What
yeah, I put a. Can we mention actually what the thing is?
Yeah, just no names. But
okay. Yeah, we did a 3-gun shoot,
Yeah.
which is a combination of a handgun, a shotgun, and an AR-15, which is a sport that people do. That
they have stages, almost like
tactical
holes
courses
on a golf course,
right?
And you go through different around over different obstacles and shoot close range and long range targets with numerous different weapons that you have to swap
in real time.
In real time,
and you do it as fast as you possibly
as you race
can.
the clock.
So you're like running through the course. Anyway, I had a blast. It's going to be a great episode. I can't wait till it airs.
Yeah.
But it got me familiar with the gun. I had never shot an AR-15 before. And so I was like, why not build one from scratch? Like, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
So I'm starting with obviously just like forged metal here and going to buy a trigger system, a barrel, an upper, like do the entire thing and just spend a month. And that's going to be one of my projects. And this was like $120 to get started.
Yeah.
And it depends on how fancy you want to go. But it wasn't crazy. So that was one. Another one that I want to do is a meditation retreat on the opposite spectrum of the AR-15 is the 3-day meditation retreat.
Which was one of the most impactful things that I did towards the end of last year.
Did you do a 3-day or 7-day?
I did a 3-day.
Did you think that was enough time?
I thought it was absolutely enough time to have somewhat of a power reset, which historically I'd done once per year with, and I don't recommend this, kiddies, but high-dose mushrooms. And I found that it had a very similar effect. You're talking about your fucking gray ball hairs. I can talk about mushrooms. So I found that 3-day meditation retreat, when it's structured, so it's not, you're not just left to your own devices. They have a very regimented, this was transcendental meditation, series of exercises that you go through.
Do you have a place where I can go and actually do this? Awesome.
Yeah, the Center for Oetic Sciences. It's up near Sebastopol, and I could recommend it, but I found it extremely impactful, so I definitely recommend that experience.
Because I know they do like 3, 5, 7-day, 14-day. Like, do you think that after you left after 3 days, were you like, I kind of wish I did a 5? Or
I felt like I would like to do a 5 or 7, but I knew that if I made, say, the 7-day the lower threshold for doing a meditation retreat, that I would never do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there's scheduling challenges. It's a big commitment.
Yeah.
But I just want to interject to say that it's really interesting that you've decided to choose something every month, because I effectively did the same thing for this upcoming year. And for 2014, decided that one of the things I wanted to focus on was lack of struggle. I know this sounds kind of funny, but I think that all throughout your 20s, and tell me if you feel this way, and other people have commented on this, like Oprah Winfrey has said, she used to feel like she always had to be stressed out or she wasn't trying hard enough. And I feel like that after 30 plus years on the planet just really starts to wear you down.
Yeah.
And so I want 2014 to involve less struggle. And I think that's being really clear with. Nice.
You're getting a thumbs up from your significant other. She's on board.
Oh boy. So where I was going with that is that I think, actually totally lost my fucking train of thought.
Less struggle, you were saying. How are you going to do it? How are you going to get less?
No, the point being that I decided for each month I would pre-schedule. I think this is a danger for you also, as busy as you are, that if you leave it up to you to decide each month what you're going to do, things will get postponed. So I decided that at the end of December, I made a list of things I wanted to do: see the Northern Lights, spend time fly fishing in Montana, for instance.
Awesome.
Hopefully, and
learn. Have you done
fish.
a fly fishing school?
No, I haven't.
I went to one, right? It's pretty good. I can hook you up.
So that would be another one. Surfing. So I'm taking off tonight for a surf trip in Costa Rica. The heli-skiing, which you know about with Ben and some others. And I took this whole list and I've already scheduled out maybe 6 or 7 of them.
Awesome.
Because I feel like if I don't take those, it's almost like if you imagine like a glass container, like a mason jar, and the first thing you put on your calendar is like a big rock. And you put that in, and then you can't fit in any more big rocks. You can fill sand around that. But like what determines everything is the first few rocks you put into that container. So for me, I wanted the first few rocks to be sort of personally fulfilling, non-profit driven activities, because I know me, and like once I get into creating something that might be a book or a TV show or business related, I'm going to push off everything else. It's just how I'm hardwired. And I think one thing that I'm realizing, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, is that the attributes and skills that sort of get you to, let's say, where we've come to, which is like, we're not Elon Musk or Bill Gates, but like we've had a certain degree of limited success in a few areas, are not the skills that allow you to then appreciate those things and take a step back and sort of reconfigure your life with more time towards certain other things.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, I mean, I think that those skills oftentimes are the complete opposite, right? Like the things that drive you to be successful in business and to, more or less just kind of burn the candle at both ends. Like that's the complete opposite of kind of like decompressing, relaxing, taking time for yourself, doing things that aren't directly correlated with like monetary return. You know what I mean? Like it feels like a lot of the projects and stuff that we take on, it's like, oh, I'm investing in this company, or I'm doing this project, or I'm like building a little business or something that you're doing like to try and expand and produce and create amazing things. Is oftentimes like just really, really wears you down. So I think that's a lot of the things that I want to do here are just like not tied to anything tech related, anything that like I do in my normal day to day. So so I mean, some of the other things I think they can also be really simple things. I think that I was thinking like there's a couple classic books that I've never read that are pretty thick and beefy, and like that may be one for a month.
For sure.
Something like a $60 bungee jump someplace and do an amazing bungee jump would be one. So it doesn't have to be really
$60.
Yeah,
Like, that's extremely dangerous.
No, that's
half
expensive.
the cost of your AR lower that you just held up.
I'm getting at like it doesn't have to be $1,000 flight to some crazy place to surf. It can be.
I don't think it has to be anything like that.
Yeah. I think that a mixture of like that kind of stuff is awesome. So anyway, one per month I think is a good goal for me. Was yours one per month too?
Yeah,
That's so weird.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about that. All right, so that was my first thing to talk about today. What else do you have?
Well, thank you, sir. Well, let's just, because I know that both of us spend so much time in this area, and a lot of people ask both of us about it. I mean, tech-wise, what have you been up to? What have you seen? What's interesting to you? I mean, I've changed somewhat how I'm approaching a lot of this. So maybe I'll just lead off with that. I mean, historically, I started off with doing very small angel investments. That was around 2007, and then that led into continuing to do small angel investments, but having advisory shares combined with that. Then moved into pure advisory. Then it split off into advisory for early stage and investments for much later stage stuff like Facebook or Twitter or whatnot, which of course has been really interesting to watch recently. We can talk about that. But in the last, I'd say 6 months in particular, I've become very interested in how I can effectively act as a mini VC, a mini venture capitalist for one company at a time. And I'm an advisor to AngelList, so I'm using AngelList in the syndicate capacity to, for instance, raise money. I've done one deal. I'll be doing a second deal very soon.
Your first deal was awesome, by the way.
Ship, S-H-Y-P.
I just met with them today.
Yeah, they're. What'd you think?
I think they're amazing. Like, you want me to give people the 30-second overview?
Yeah, give them the 30-second overview.
I met with this company today. It was one that I've been curious about because I saw that you did the investment, and I unfortunately did not take a meeting back a few months ago when you did the investment, so I missed out. But essentially, what they figured out, and I spaced on this piece, was that there's people that need to ship stuff, just plain and simple. Like they need to like get rid of stuff, whether they're selling things on Etsy or eBay, or they have Christmas presents to ship or whatever. You may like. There's probably, for me, there's at least 2 times a month where I need to like
tons
take
of
something
stuff, mailing
down.
stuff back for rebates, mailing stuff to be like recycled, returned, whatever.
So the majority of the focus has been on kind of like the last mile in innovation, like rescheduling your deliveries for certain times, but not really that first mile, like how you get the package out of the house.
Yeah.
And so, the issue has always been that it's too expensive because you have to pay someone to come by to pick it up. You pay them an hourly rate. They take it down to the shipping store for you. They
It's too expensive, or you just don't want to take the time. right?
Right.
Like 2 hours, 3 hours out of your day to go futz around and find packaging and go to the post
Well,
office.
that's the manual way. So the manual way is to like actually go down to the post office, find a box, wrap it yourself, or pay for someone to wrap it, blah blah blah. The somewhat automated way is that you can hire a task, grab it, do something like that. They come over to your house, they pick it up, they ship it for you. You're paying their hourly rate plus whatever it costs to ship at the local shipping spot, blah blah blah. So what they've done that's pretty smart is that they said, okay, we'll come by, we'll pick it up, we'll seal it in a little thing, a little package for you, and put it in the car. We take it back to our facility. We then package it professionally, charge you cost for the packaging and the bubble and all that stuff, and then we ship it for you, and we charge you United States Postal Service rates plus $5.
only if it's just one item.
Only if it's one item. It's
so if
two
you ship
items,
more than one item, then
it's
there's
this
no $5
USPS rate plus whatever the boxes and stuff are. And that's amazing. And I'm like, well, how can this be possible? How are you making your margins? And they're like, well, we ship with different providers. And so sometimes it's cheaper to go with DHL. Sometimes it's cheaper to go with UPS. Sometimes it's cheaper to go with USPS. So
yeah, and then there are other carriers that you can't use as an end consumer.
right, exactly. They're super boutique-y,
on
like
track
little
or whatever.
Right.
Where since they're shipping in volume, they can ship using one of those regional carriers.
And that's where they get their margin is on the
Yeah.
shipping rate there. And so for me, I'm like, hell yeah, like I'm just paying USPS rates, which is fine, and they just take care of everything. It's amazing. It's a great little business. When they hit scale, it's going to be a phenomenal business. And so I'm excited about it. I think I'm going to try and figure out a way to get involved with them. If you're watching this video, let's talk. No, I met with him today, so I can no.
Is your dog tearing apart things over there?
He's ripping up some. We give him these the inside of the paper towel rolls, and he shreds them.
Oh, all right. Just checking. Yeah, the ship guys are super solid.
That was your first deal through AngelList.
It was my first deal through AngelList. So we did, I think, $1 million total, but raised $250,000 of it from on the blog, which was raised in about 53 minutes. And the next deal, I mean, you're part of this as well. Although you have some constraints, but I have a syndicate that has about $2.5 or $2.6 million committed for the next deal. So theoretically, I should be able to press a button and basically fund a Series A, at least a small Series A at that. So I'm really excited about that platform, and it allows me. Previously, I had to choose either putting in a very small amount of money or arranging somehow for advisory shares. But it's not fair to the companies I work with or the companies I might work with to advise 100 companies, right? It doesn't work.
Sure.
So how do I then, for instance, either advise a handful of companies or invest a small amount up front and then add capital when there's a growth round? That's what's really interesting to me. Previously, as an individual, I never would have been able to do that because I don't have the bankroll. But now, if I'm good at scouting and have good deal flow, and both of us do, then I could put a small amount in, my usual amount, and then later on, when the company is going gangbusters, and this has happened to me so many times, I just don't have
the capital
to put in. And it's like, okay, as Chris Sacco, who's a friend of ours, obviously has said, like putting more wood behind the arrow. I just love that expression. It's like, like now we've already figured out which horse to bet on. Now it's just a matter of being selectively aggressive and putting the amount of money in that makes sense.
And the cool thing about this, for all of you that are watching and are like, I'm starting to tune out because I don't understand this world. The cool thing about it is that as an AngelList syndicate, like you can sign up to back Tim
or you
or me on AngelList, and essentially you will get a small portion of these deals that he's doing. What's your minimum for people?
$1,000.
$1,000. So they put $1,000 in per deal.
Yeah, which is previously you had to. It was sort of a over dinner, over drinks, kind of closed room thing in Silicon Valley for a lot of these deals.
It's awesome. It opens it up to anyone.
It opens it up.
And the issue has always been that there's so many people out there that are like, oh man, I would have loved to have seen Twitter in the early days and invested. Like there's, obviously if you don't live in San Francisco and you can't meet these people, how are you ever going to be able to invest? It's impossible.
Yeah.
The cool thing about this is it gives all of these companies a way to open it up to anyone in the world, essentially, to put some money behind them. So I'm excited to use the platform as well. I think it's going to be really cool.
What's your profile URL? Do you remember?
I think I'm just angel.co/Kevin or Kevin Rose. I think /Kevin.
Yeah, I'm just angel.co/Tim. Easy. So you can check it out. And that also just kick around on the site. It's if you want to learn about early stage tech investing. AngelList is a great place to do it. You can see what people have invested in. You can see what startup teams look like. You can see what related news looks like. And the people behind it, among others, Naval and Nivi, also ran a fantastic site called Venture Hacks, which really delved into sort of the inside baseball of early stage tech, both on the entrepreneur side and on the investing side. So,
yeah, the other thing too I'll say is that if you're checking out AngelList and you don't have the means to invest in any of these companies, they also have a job board on there.
Yeah.
And so you can get involved, like if you're really good at something, let's say you're an awesome iOS designer, or you're good at coding, or you're great at marketing, like you can apply to work with these companies or advise these companies, and that's a way for you to get ownership as well. So it's not just for people that have $1,000 to throw around.
Yeah, exactly. And paper trade, it's just like the stock market. You can paper trade for a while and just see how your startups do. There's no reason that you can't play the game, even if it's with imaginary money, even if you don't have the means. I mean, you can still develop your skill set. It's just like fantasy football, right? I mean, very similar. So what other, any side projects that you can talk about outside of your JOB?
I'm building
G-O-O-G-L-E?
G-O-O-G-L-E. I'm building one little tiny app that is just for funsies. I think it's going to be a really fun little utility app. I hate the word funsies. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I think Alex Albrecht used to say that. That's why I got it in my head. So I think it's going to be ready in the next couple months, and we'll talk about it in the next thing. But it's just a utility app; it's no big deal. But
wow, I will talk. So uninformative.
I know. So I've got one more thing I want to talk about that I'm excited about. So in getting back to that theme of just getting a little bit older and wanting to do things differently.
Yeah.
Outside of the one per month experience things that I want to do, I also want to take the time to up my game a little bit in certain areas.
All right.
And so I've got some areas that I don't want to touch. Like I freaking love those tube socks at Target, the ones with the gold tip, the black ones.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but they sound amazing.
They're great. You know what I'm talking about, Graham. They're freaking great socks. Anyway, I'm not gonna.
So that's a very significant area of your life.
I'm just saying, there's certain things that I'm gonna start to upgrade a little bit. That
the socks will stay.
The socks will stay.
All right.
I'll give you an example. So one example is that I've decided to get rid of boxers altogether.
Oh,
and I'm going now with a more micro brief.
The boxer brief.
The boxer brief. This is a micro brief, so let me show you what it looks like here.
This is a very
I got these on
Kevin
Amazon.
Groin focused random show. I like this. This is very exciting. Oh, it's got the little comfort pouch.
I mean, these are nice. They're nice. They're stretchy. They're comfortable. Dude, listen.
This is how you're upping your game?
I'm just saying, there's something nice about, you got to treat this with your wife or your significant other. Guys, you got to know this. You got to present. You got to present a good...
A bouquet?
A bouquet, if you will. And it can't be like old, crappy boxers. If you're sitting there, and any women that are watching the show, you know what I'm talking about. Your guys have these old boxers with holes in them, crap. That's not sexy. You need something to up it a little bit. So anyway, that's the boxer brief.
Nice.
You don't have to get Calvin Klein, but these were $17 or whatever on Amazon. So I got rid of all my boxers. And also, in the drawer, these fit really well because I can fold them up like this really tight.
You are really getting old.
F you, man.
F me. That's even older.
I'm just
saying, can say fuck on the random show, Kevin. It's okay.
Okay, so listen. I'm just trying to give some guide tips for the new year. It's the holiday season. It's I'm trying to offer some advice. So the other thing, a couple other things. I wanted to start getting into wine a little bit more because I enjoy a good glass of wine, but I wanted to learn more about wine. And so in the last year, I've become friends with Will Harlan.
Boom.
Who is a winemaker and is part of Harlan Estate, and he just introduced a new wine called the Mascot, and the Mascot is a phenomenal cab. I would argue that without a doubt, Harlan makes the best cabs in Napa. They're delicious. They're delicious. They're also crazy expensive. This is not a crazy expensive wine. It's really rare, so it's hard to get, but. It's about, I think it's $75 or $85 a bottle. Is it 75? Yeah, it's a little pricey. It's one of those things where you only bust it out you're having a really nice steak, every couple weeks, bust out a bottle or whatever you can afford. But so check out mascotwine.com. I just give them a little free plug because I think that he's just trying to do things differently, and he's trying to make something that as you will taste and be exposed to a new level of wine. I mean, you've tried this. It's pretty phenomenal.
Great. It's fantastic.
So I'm trying to like slowly, not just his wine, but I'm slowly trying to make my way around and understand like the difference between a Malbec made in Argentina and then in Mendoza. And I've had some phenomenal Malbecs that are like $25, $30. They're just unbelievably good.
Yeah.
So what I do is I just go down to there's a Whole Foods around the corner.
If you can get Clos de los Siete from 2007, that is a Malbec from Argentina. Amazing. You can get just house wine in some cases. Although, just as a quick side note, much like Pinot Noir, am I looking in the right place, Graham?
This camera right here on the right.
Okay. Thank you. You figure after fucking 4 months of TV, I should have this figured out. But that much like Pinot Noir after Sideways, the movie came out, got really overproduced. A lot of wines flooded the market, and there was a lot of bad stuff. I feel like there's been a lot of Malbec produced since it's become a little more popular. So I've actually, even though I lived in Argentina for a long time, been experimenting with Chilean like Carmenere and things like that, which still tend to be hard to screw up in a lot of the US. So there you go. One wino to another.
Yeah, so I would say that you know, as a guy, it's like it's just nice to like have a really lightweight, and granted I'm a novice here, but like understanding of what starts to pair what with food. Like I always thought, honestly, I thought all this was bullshit. Like when they were saying like, oh, this wine pairs so well with this meat or whatever, I was like, this is like some snobby bullshit. Like I don't want any part of this. Like, and then,
granted, there is a lot of snobby bullshit.
There is a lot of snobby bullshit in wine, and I think Gary Vaynerchuk was the first one. If you don't know him, look him up. To actually make wine approachable. But dude, when you start to learn like some of these wines, like you get a really good steak and you grill up a steak and you like have like a good cab like mascot and you like have a bite of steak with like some awesome fat in it, and then you take a sip of wine, you realize how well that they blend and complement each other. I mean, you wrote a cooking book, you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I'm gonna give a quick plug for another book also, which is, this is not the exact title I don't think, but the Scratch and Sniff Guide to Wine by Crystal designed, or did the design primarily, and Richard Betts.
Yeah, Betts,
the author, an amazing master sommelier who sat down with me at one point to talk about hacking the master sommelier test. That's another story for another time. It's kind of a long deal, but awesome guy, very non-snobby, and this book helps you through an olfactory sense to get to, I think, what you're saying, which is a lot of it is bullshit, but there is an element that is absolutely concrete.
Yeah. So getting back to like this, the trying new things and then trying to learn about new things, I think that wine is on my list. Scotch and bourbons are on my list. Like just kind of taking my time and like, you know, really it's not so much about drinking them as it is honestly just reading about them. Like just getting a good book on them and reading about the different regions and the areas.
Reading about alcohol?
Reading about alcohol. I mean, it is drinking as well, but like I'm just saying like,
it is fascinating.
When you start to understand the difference between like a peaty Scotch versus like a Kentucky bourbon and like just learning that stuff's a lot of fun. So,
what's your favorite Scotch or bourbon to date?
So, oh man, I got really lucky and I got a bottle at cost, which is a couple $100, which is crazy, but it's Pappy Van Winkle.
Oh, Pappy Van Winkle's amazing.
Which is insane. I got one. I found one where
So
they
good.
didn't mark it up because they normally mark it up just like insane because it's hard to find. But I got a bottle of the 20-year and it was so good.
You know what I also like, and I think it's because it has higher rye content, but I spent some time in Kentucky with Drew Curtis, who's the founder of FARC, really cool guy.
Yeah, I know Drew.
Yeah, awesome guy. And we tried tons and tons of different bourbons, and the only one that really suited my palate was Bullet. Bullet
Bullet is a great...
Just straight Bullet.
Dude,
and it's not hard to find. It's not expensive.
I agree.
And it's just a really
Dude,
fantastic...
I have a bottle of Bullet right down here because it's like a freaking...
let's show people what it looks like if you have it.
It's a good
really
daily...
nice bottle too.
Let's see, where's my Bullet? Maybe we drank it all. Hey, you know what? I have it in the other room. Do you want me to grab it or do you want to keep talking? Keep talking about something you like.
Yeah, why don't you go grab it? I'll do a little Jay Leno monologue for everyone's detriment. So welcome to Masterpiece Theatre. Graham, what are your resolutions for 2014? Anything?
I
I think mine are a lot along the lines of doing something new this year. Last year,
Have people seen you before? Here, come
know.
on, see.
I don't have a microphone on, so this is going to be...
That's okay. Or you can talk into my neck.
But last year, my resolution was to lose a lot of weight, and did
Which
that.
you did.
So this year, it's kind of the same, like maintaining that. Yeah.
So how did you manage to lose? How much weight did you lose, and how did you do it?
I lost about 40 pounds, and mainly did it by running and changing my diet. I told you this a while back, but one of my main meals was like this 3-minute microwavable spinach thing that you did a YouTube video on.
Yeah, the 3-minute breakfast.
And that was like my breakfast every morning. And then I would run, I would have a light lunch and a nice healthy dinner, and 40 pounds.
Just falls off.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Cool. All right.
All right.
Well,
Dude, you telling the story about the weight loss?
Yeah.
That is amazing. Dude, he's a transformed man. Like, seriously.
yeah. Oh no, I remember.
Have you seen, I mean, I don't know if
I've
you
seen
want
those.
to show any
I
before and after
met him
photos,
before
but,
he'd
like,
lost the weight.
I've got some photos.
So here's boy.
Yeah. Wow. This is a massive. This is like the magnum. All right. So yeah, this is Bull Bourbon. The first bourbon I really got into, and these bottles are also just fantastic. So I save these, and
A lot of people do. You
use
put
them.
flowers in them, all kinds
Yeah,
of stuff.
flowers, water, whatever it might be. What is this?
Dude, that is some hard to find stuff. This is, I'm really excited about this.
Hibiki.
Hibiki, it's a Japanese whiskey.
Yeah. That looks expensive.
Well, the thing that's interesting about this, hi Toast. Okay, let's go down. The thing that's interesting about Hibiki is, so the Japanese.
This is fucking enormous. Where did you get?
I
Is this
got it at
Costco?
I got it at Costco.
Did you really?
Yeah. It was awesome. It's a better deal. So Hibiki is an amazing Japanese whiskey, and I highly recommend going and trying it. You can find it at Bevmo or other places.
I think Hibiki is Echo. I'm not sure. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe somebody who speaks better Japanese than I do.
So the interesting thing about this bottle is that the government only allows for the export of 12 year. Anything older than 12 year, they consider it to be too good.
So this is contraband? This is like a Cuban cigar?
This is 30. So they can't sell this in the States. Well, they can sell it in the States, but it's illegal to export.
So do you just put this in your Calvin Klein boxer briefs and bring it back?
I hid it in my suitcase and I freaking wrapped it up and brought it back.
Wow, nice.
Isn't that awesome? So anyway, you can find this in Japan, and it's not that expensive. It's don't look online because you're gonna see prices there for people that have like smuggled it in. If you actually buy it in Japan, it's not that expensive. But
Right, so if you don't want drug smuggler prices,
come talk to me.
come talk to Kevin.
I'll give the deal.
Speaking of for your best offer.
Oh,
that's another
Pobo.
story. Yeah, why don't you give people an intro to Pobo?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, so Pobo is a pivot from an app originally called Yard Sale. This is really only applicable to people in San Francisco right now, so I'll go fast.
Yeah.
But Pobo is essentially, it stands for free or best offer. It's an iPhone app that you can come in, and I've been selling stuff on it over the last week.
I'm going to be selling a ton of stuff.
You basically just go in and hit sell, and you take a photo of like your product. First you list your product. It works really well for electronics.
At this point in time, yeah, very good for electronics. So if you have old laptops, old connectors, old chargers.
And they guarantee you a price that it'll sell for.
Yeah.
And then basically, people will bid it up, and they're micro auctions, so they only last 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they're over. So it happens really fast. You don't have to wait like 7 days on eBay.
Yeah.
And someone local comes by your house and just picks it up, and then you get the cash via transfer.
pretty sweet.
And it works really well. So we're friends with the guys that started it, and they've been growing like crazy. They've been doing really well.
App's doing really well. And they've been through like the valley of death. You know what I mean? Like they really worked for it, and so happy and proud of what they've built. It's a very elegant app. It does, currently, one thing very, very well, and I think it'll spread really, really quickly. So you have Pobo. What's the easiest way for people to find Pobo?
I think it's Fobo.net. Yeah, it's something like that.
And for those people interested in Ship, if you're in SF and you want to try it out, you can go to ship.com, but I think it's just ship.com/getzip, as in get zip code, get zip. But by the time you see this, I think Ship, shyp.com/Tim, will also have just a simple form for you to test it as a
And
beta
so
user in
will
SF.
/Kevin, so make sure to go to /Kevin.
Don't go to Slash, Kevin.
Do it.
That's
You'll get
spyware.
I'll give you an extra $5 off your first order.
You'll have tons of charges for porn on your credit card.
I don't even know if that's. They don't.
Kevin doesn't know what porn is.
I don't watch porn. I think that's it. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention. My wife and I have been playing the freaking new Zelda. You have to play the new Zelda. It's a Link Between Worlds. It's phenomenal. It's like the old Zelda, but it's just all in 3D and it's unbelievable.
What are you playing it on?
This right here, 3DS.
All right.
you
So
know
you
what
need a
3DS
3DS.
is?
I know what it is.
Have you ever used one?
I have not.
Have you seen it in 3D?
No.
Oh my god, dude. Watch this. You're about to see his mind get blown. Hold on. Watch this. Okay.
All right, that's cool.
Hold on. Let me launch it. Hold on.
It gives you like a seizure if you look at it the wrong angle, though.
No, hold on. No, it doesn't. Okay, watch 3DS logo. Looks good. And watch this. Here comes the little fairy. Hold on. Wait for it.
I'm waiting.
Here it comes. Look at how 3D that is. You see that?
The spinning triangles.
Isn't that cool?
It is cool.
Look at
So
that
how do you
world.
guys
Look at the
play
trees.
together? You have two of them?
We don't play together. We play separately, but we both beat it. I got her one of these with Zelda for Christmas, and she beat the game, and I beat it too. It's awesome. It is a great game. If you're a Zelda
sounds
fan,
amazing.
you got to get in. That's all I gotta say.
Do you read books anymore? Have you stopped?
I stopped reading books.
You stopped reading books. I have some thoughts on books, briefly.
I do read books, but anyway.
Kevin's still learning to read.
I am.
Hooked on phonics worked for you. A couple books that, so as you know, I've sort of fantasized about bringing neglected books into the limelight for a while.
I love this idea.
And this is something we've talked about for probably a year. And
I've been trying to push you to do this for a long time.
Yeah, and only in the last few months launched the sort of Tim Ferriss Book Club. I mean, it's not sort of, that's what it's called. And so
Do people come over to your house?
sit around, we drink tea.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Little tea and crumpets.
Yeah, tea and crumpets, Tupperware, sex toys. It's pretty cool. So the first two books were Vagabonding, which had a huge impact on me philosophically, also for travel, and then Daily Rituals, which covers sort of 300 to 400 of the daily rituals of iconic artists, creators, scientists, and so on.
And you're launching these as audiobooks.
At the moment, I'm doing audiobooks, but I'll mention a few just because I'm not rushing this whole process. I have to read all of them. They have to be books that really impact me. So I'll mention a few that I've read that are not books that I own rights to in any way. The first is, actually, I just mentioned one, and that is the Name of the Wind, the Kingkiller Chronicles, Book 1. All right, so the Name of the Wind is like Ender's Game, but for
Wind.
but for fantasy. So if you were ever a D&D, meaning Dungeons and Dragons, dork, or like Lord of the Rings or anything like that, magic, magicians, warlocks, etc. This book, The Name of the Wind, which was recommended to me by Roman, i.e. John Romanello, is fantastic. The dialogue is just incredible. So it tore through, I don't know, whatever it is, 600-700 pages, but just like flew through it like hot knife through butter. I mean, it was so fun to read. And I have a very high bar for any kind of fantasy writing because it can be so bad, it can be so schlocky. It's like like dime store romance novels for like 12-year-old like acne covered nerds. That's fantasy novels, usually. This one is really good. So The Name of the Wind, The Kingkiller Chronicles is highly recommended.
Is this on audio or no?
You can get it on audio, you can get it on Kindle, you can get it on whatever. I don't have any stake in it, but it's just such a good book, I have to recommend it.
Sweet.
So,
I just been getting into magazines more lately.
magazines?
Yeah, I've been
What are we talking?
I just
People
been,
magazine?
No.
Hustler magazine?
No. Hustler. Who gets Hustler? Do people even download porn magazines?
Thou doth
have
protest
them on
too
it.
much.
But, like, why would you, if there's
No,
video,
no.
why would you even get like stationary pictures of porn?
I thought you said you didn't watch porn.
No, I'm just saying if there is video. So Field and Stream, Wired.
Wait, Field and Stream? Why are you reading Field and Stream?
Because it's got some cool like hunting stuff in there, like like different types.
When's the last time you went hunting?
I haven't been hunting since I was a little kid.
Really?
Yeah, I'd like to go.
Oh my God.
I'd like to go. It's been a long time.
Dude, let's go fly fishing.
No, I want to go duck hunting. We talked about that. Daria's all in. She wants to make duck. If I catch it, she'll cook it.
If you catch it.
Yeah, something like that. Recoil, Esquire.
If you catch it, she'll train it.
Exactly.
All right.
Muscle and Fitness, which I think is actually pretty good.
That's better.
Cooks Illustrated.
Cooks Illustrated.
Flex, which is just retarded.
You're reading all the Roid Monster magazines.
Some of these guys are massive.
Guns and Ammo. Wait, what's that? You got a lot of gun magazines.
They're all free to try.
Recoil.
Recoil's actually pretty cool.
Are you going full on prepper? Are you ready for the apocalypse? What's happening here?
No, dude, you have way more guns than I do. Don't act like
How
I'm
many
the
guns
crazy
do you
one.
have?
You
Don't
probably
act
have
like you're
30.
the crazy. I don't have 30
Do you have a
guns.
fully built AR-15?
Yes.
Do you have a shotgun?
Yes, so do you.
Do you have multiple handguns?
Yes, so do you.
Do you have more than 5 knives?
Yes, so do you.
No, I don't have more than 5
you
knives.
do. I've given you 2, so I know you have at least 2.
Maybe 3. Anyway, we're both weird.
All right.
So
It's a super awkward way to end this radio show. Anything else to add?
I don't think so. I want to get an infrared scope for my AR-15 though.
Who's the crazy one?
That would be cool. I know I'll never use it, but to look out there and like have it like Predator styles would be pretty sick.
It would be fun.
All right. Anyway, that's
On
it for
that
this
note.
episode. We
All
promise not to stalk you.
So don't stalk us and we'll be even.
We'll be fine. Bullet Rye, try that. Graham, anything else to say? Anything to add for the new year?
Good.
All right. No links or anything?
No links.
Yeah. Nothing. All right. Maybe we'll have something next time.
All right. Look for the show notes. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Welcome to the much anticipated Secret Santa who has arrived.
Let's start that over again. Say.
That was amazing. That was like a sound effect.